here. Okay, hello, we are live. Welcome to our new coach mentorship first official wrap up. We are so excited to have you active and anyone else who ends up watching this live, which I know we may end up with a couple more people. But until then, that's totally fine. So we just kind of wanted to, as you all know, this was a first edition of Coach Mentorship Program. And so we were, we tried new things. We tried to go live as much as we could. Really, we shared everything we do, everything there is, but all of this was pulled from Beachbody. So it's not anything that we specifically created. We obviously added our flair to it, and like what we do that works. But ultimately, this is what the top of the top of the top is doing. And I feel like, based on kind of polling people, it feels like people got what they wanted out of it and what they needed. And our hope is that it gives you that confidence to sign coaches knowing that this kind of training is available. And whether you're running it with us or you're running it by yourself, that you have these tools to help somebody else succeed is really the hope, I think, behind what we're trying to do. I feel like we, going forward, most of the people that were in this group are older, have been through some sort of training. So I'm excited to kind of hear some feedback on what kind of worked and didn't work. But I think ultimately we realize that you kind of have to just dumb it down, because I think you want it to be confusing and you want it to be this like thing that you have to like figure out. But at the end of the day, like there's nothing to figure out. It is what it is. And it's just as simple as that. And so, yeah. Anything that you would like to add to that welcome party?
I just totally agree with Kim. And there were a lot of days when we were checking in with each other, Kim and Brittany and I, and just saying like, this is legit. Like, this is good content because to be honest, after doing this for 4 years now, there's been so many different times we've tried to revamp boot camps and pull in what's working currently and all of that. And what I really loved about this was feeling like the corporate side of Beachbody really did its homework in polling all of these coaches, not just the ones at the top, but also the ones who had breakout years in 2017, and asked them, what is it that you do every day that got you from coach to where you are now, actually making an income? And that's what we were hearing overwhelmingly from our coaches that are currently on the team are obviously wanting. And so obviously a new coach would want that. So there were so many days where we would say to each other, like, that we're onto something with this. This is good stuff. So I hope, and like I said in all of my live videos, that you guys really took action on it, because that's what this comes down to. I feel like we've worked with enough coaches now to know, and I believe this to my core, that if you do the things, it'll work. If you look at, there's not a Beachbody coach mold. This is my opinion. I can only speak for myself. Can't speak for Kim and Britt, but I don't believe that there's a Beachbody mold. In fact, I was just saying to Kim today, naming a few people who are very successful in the company, who, if you had an image of a Beachbody coach, it would not be them for whatever reason. And so I strongly believe that seeing their success of every shape, size, ethnicity, gender, whatever, if you do the right things, you can make this happen. But at the same time, this is a business where nobody's looking over your shoulder telling you every day what to do. Nobody's checking in on you. I mean, as your mentors and as your coaches, we're here 1,000%. But we're not your boss. We're not going to require that you send us your tracker every day or anything like that. We're here to be your accountability partner. If you want that, we can most definitely do those things for you, but it definitely takes consistent daily action on your part. And that's where, over my 4 years of coaching, where I've seen people flourish and where I've seen people fail, is that this isn't something that you can dabble. You can do the hobby coach thing where you commit to just your power hour every day and reaching out to people, and that's it. And you don't, you're not focusing on building this huge team. Maybe you're just focused on helping 3 people a month and running a challenge group. That's great. And that will over time build success. I think that is the foundation of what this whole group teaches. But even in that, it takes the consistency every day. I always think of it as the person on the outside looking in, what would draw me in and what would I trust? And I would trust the person who shows up every day on their social media, who continues to check in on me, continues to follow up with me. I always say I want to be the person that somebody thinks about when they're ready, because it's such a personal decision to dive into some sort of new fitness program and to try out a new business. And I want to be that person they go, you know what, Andy's been around this whole time. She's never wavered. She shows up every day. She's still here. I want to have that be what people think about, so that they know that when I sign them up, I'll be here for them. I'm not going anywhere. So all of this stuff that we taught you in this last 28 days or whatever it was is literally the foundation of your business. And now it's a matter of putting this into habit, into action every day. And like I've said on all those other calls as well, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's overwhelming if you let it. And I'll be completely honest, there's been plenty of times where I've allowed it to be overwhelming in my life. But when I check into with my accountability partners and go, whoa, I go, you know what, this really isn't hard. It's not hard. It just takes the effort every day of doing it and trusting the process. For example, even this month, I like to, and I strive for helping at least 5 people by middle of the month, so that I can kind of shift to recruiting. That's where I'm at in my business, what I've done for a long time. And we are March 19 today. And I just now helped 2 more people today to commit to my challenge group that will start Monday. So I just got into Success Club with 6 points on the board today. So I'm not where I normally would like to be, but I've been trusting the process all month long, that this process has not failed me for 4 years. What I do every day, talking to people, connecting with people, building relationships every day, and inviting, has not failed me, and it's not going to fail me now. So sitting at 2 this morning and now at 6, it just reminds me, and I think it was perfect timing before this call for you coaches to see that the system works, but you have to work it. You have to show up every day for your business. You are the CEO. You are the driver of this bus. And I really wanted to talk to you guys about this big vision. And what is your vision? I think that on the days that this gets hard, on the days that you don't want to be the inspiring, encouraging one on social media and in your groups and reach out to people, trust me, I just had a heck of a weekend and I did not want to be that person. You have to dig deep, and you have to have a vision so big that makes you go, whatever's going on around me, my vision is bigger than that, and I'm going to keep plowing forward. Now, that doesn't mean you have a bad day and, maybe you only post once and you're not as active. Yes, that's life. But just using my weekend as an example, I had a really bad weekend and I still showed up in my groups. I still did my power hour. I still did the things because I know that my vision for what I want for this team, for each of you, for my challengers, and for my family is so big that I can't just sit back and go, it's a bad day, so I'm just going to chalk it up as a loss. And that, I strongly believe in, is what has gotten me to where I am today. So I want you guys to really think about, what is your vision, and are you willing to work towards that? Because on a day when it's hard, you don't feel like it, or life happens, if you don't have that big vision behind you driving you, you won't do the things. And one day will turn into a week, will turn into a month. Before you know it, you'll be that coach that just kind of stopped. And I don't want that for you guys, because I believe in each of you, and I believe in this in a major way. Miss Kim, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I love that. I feel like, obviously lots of life has happened since I joined Beachbody. It's been a wild ride, to say the least, but I think a lot of times, I think of the transformation of who I was and who I wasn't, and how I think about a lot of the different, like when I'm in that place of like comparison game. I texted Andy this morning and I was like, why am I comparing myself to her? I am not her. Like, so silly. And I'm not one to compare myself, but when I'm in the right mood and the photo gets me, I'm there. Right. And it's just interesting because I think I like to focus more about like what is transformed over the last 4 years. My marriage is completely different. The way I handle situations, friendships, adversity, pain. I wouldn't be able to do that without being where I am today. And even the energy to keep up with a 4, 3, and 1, I mean, that in itself takes, and like to recognize, like, Kim, that's a really big deal. Like and I feel like Afton knows because she is like in my boat. We both have very small children and with 0 age gap, basically. But the fact is, I don't want to just be a mom who kind of shows up, like because I feel like I have the excuse, like, well, Kim, you have a 4, 3, and 1. That's really hard. Like, that's hard. But instead, I feel like it pushes me to be even better in that department, to read about how to be a better mom every single day, because that is my ministry. That is my priority, to read about how to be a better wife every single day, to read about how to better be a better child of God, because it's something that but like, I was never like that before. Like, I would just assume, like, I know best. I've got this. You know what I mean? And I think of those times where even in the comparison game, that could have sent me down like a rabbit hole. But it's like a quick, like this morning I woke up and I had 2 new coach cancellations, and not from my downline, but it made no difference. And for me, it was like, I should just not even get up. What's the point? Literally, that was what went through my head. And then I was like, no, Kim, you're going to choose joy, and you're going to wake up with intention, and you're going to get after it. And that was quickly, like, but that's how fast the moment changed. And I say all this because sometimes in that, just even in your own fitness journey, you need to be able to mentally check yourself into the place that you want to be overall. And I just have this, I think, especially as I'm learning and growing, even in like moving to a new place and being kind of more alone, I guess you could say. We live up on this mountain and we're far away from people, and the only people who live on my block are old people who literally are dying. Someone died like a week ago. So, like, there's just no young families. And I know once we get into kindergarten, things will change and we'll make new friends and whatever. But the fact is, I have this grand, like, I see us, like, I've been to enough of the Beachbody events, and I see the passion, and I see the like free trips, because let's be real, we don't have trips in us right now. We wouldn't go on trips, James and I, we would never pick that. But if you want to pay for me to go on a trip, okay, now you've got his attention, you know what I mean? And so, like, I just think of the life, like, I think of like us sitting in a retreat surrounded by snow in hot tubs, working out together. And that is like, I just like, my heart, like, I get butterflies and goosebumps thinking about our team growing to be that team, because I see other teams, and I talk to so many women all day long who are part of teams who don't have the coach doesn't even talk to them. I don't want to be that. And I know, because it's Andy, myself, and Brittany, we come from like deep roots. We don't even, Beachbody is not even our root. We come even deeper. And like knowing, like, this is like so random, but like our husbands also went through something crazy together in high school that not a lot of people have gone through. And like it's rooted. And like the fact that all those boys are still friends, I know has a lot to do with what they went through. And they're all in each other's weddings, and it's just like this big fest. And so for me, it's like we have something so special, and to not fight for that every single day would be a shame, would literally be a missed opportunity of a lifetime. And I know something I would regret terribly come 2 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, not to like, I would never bash any other MLM, but the truth of the matter is I would never sell anything else. Like I just would never sell anything else, because nothing else offers freedom in every area of your life. Yes, getting, longer hair, even though that's a big lawsuit right now. So don't use Monat if you're a Monat person. It's burning people's scalp. But that's just besides the point. But like that, sure, you get longer hair, you get nicer skin, you get health products that are, laundry detergent that's full of naturals. You have essential oils that's great for lots of different things. But at the end of the day, nothing offers freedom like Beachbody does. Nothing. Because we all know that when you take care of your health, like I was even talking to my very best friend today, and she sells a health product that makes you lose weight really, really fast. But she's telling me all this. She's like, oh, I'm helping this girl, and she lost like 77 pounds. And she's like, oh, sorry, I just belched him drinking a Diet Coke. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're a health coach. Like, you know what Diet Coke does to you? Come on. Like, what? Like, but that's not what it's about for them. It isn't about the long-term health. It's about the quick. Let's lose 70 pounds quickly. So then when you lose the 70 pounds, what happens next? Like, are you going to live on packaged meals for the rest of your life? So I just think that there's so much freedom knowing, in my opinion, that we are offering the best products, the best opportunity for you to live health through like your parenting, marriage, your relationships, your all of it. It's all encompassing. And to me, there's just, that drives me every day. Every time I sit down to post something, every time I sit down to make a check-in post, every time I talk to somebody, it's like, like today, this chick was like, I literally want to read you my message because it was so funny. And I think she's going to sign up, but she was like, what did she say? She's like, oh, hey, I would love to join, but I'm not sure I can afford it. And I was like, totally get that. I mean, when you think about it, it's a long-term, it's doable when you think of it a long-term gain. You have access for workouts for a year, so you don't even need a gym membership. And, she's like, she goes on and she's like, oh, well, how much is it? And I'm like, it's like $160. I'm like, tell me what gym membership you can have and support and personal training and like a rad time for $160. She's like, oh yeah, I can totally afford that. And I'm like, yeah, see, everybody can. So anyway, see, this is what happened when you tell me to like go on a rant about vision and passion.
No, this is good because I'm going to hop in right here because the other thing I said I wanted to talk about on this with you this morning was confidence. And obviously Kim like exudes confidence, and I can honestly say I aspire to have the confidence that Kim has yesterday and tomorrow and every day. But even as a brand new coach, you can dredge that up. Even if you're like, oh, I just started and I just finished this mentorship and I barely finished a challenge group and I'm so far away from my goal, whatever it is. Heck, I am so far away from my goal with this baby in me. Trust me, I've been there. I've done this through 2 pregnancies now. I've been up, I've been down, but I have not wavered in my confidence in this entire company, in these products, and everything that Kim just said about how it transforms your life from in every aspect is so true to my core that I lead with that every single day. Just like she just kind of reiterated that conversation that she had, that is gold, you guys, because she wasn't worried about having some sort of cookie cutter response. She just said, girl, look, it's like, where can you find that? And people respond to that. They respond to that real, raw, let's have a conversation, let's talk about it. And when you are coming from a place of this is just me, and I'm so passionate and so confident in this and in my ability to coach you, that I'll talk to you like as if you're my best friend sitting on my couch. And I want you guys to have that mindset starting now, that when you're in conversations with people, even if you're not feeling that confident, you need to dig it up, because that is what gets you there. I can't even tell you how many times I have so persistently pursued certain people. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not a saleswoman. I've been told I'm a terrible saleswoman, but I pursue people hardcore, especially when I see something in them where I'm like, they will love this. I just know, like from our conversation, if I get a yes out of them, that yes will be a thank you. And I think about that when I'm talking to people. And I've had so many people in my challenge groups and even some people on the team tell me, thank you so much for not giving up on me, for continuing to talk to me. And I talk to them just like I would my best friend on the couch. Like, you have to do this with me. You realize this, right? Like, this will transform you. This will change you. And that is what takes you from not being a saleswoman, but from being somebody that can inspire hope and change and a new life for somebody. So I want you guys to really think about that. Think about your big vision and really, really, really take into consideration that it takes the little things every single day that add up. And this can be huge for you. One thing I love about just the structure of Beachbody is you could surpass us all. And that's always my goal for everybody on the team, is get further on that star ladder than all of us. Like, I would be overjoyed. What would make me more happy than ever standing on that elite stage as an elite coach myself ever again would to see all of you up there. I would be bawling my eyes out, jumping for joy, sitting in the stands, so happy for you, beyond how excited I was and how proud I was the time that I did it for our team. And I love that. I love that you guys you're in the driver's seat of your business to take it as far as you want. And it's up to you to do it.
Totally. And I think that you get a lot of that passion from going to a summit, going to Super Saturdays even. I know we don't push that as a team a ton. I think because we don't really have one in San Diego. So I think it's hard. Like it's not something we push, but if you have Super Saturdays in your area, I recommend going. You just get to hear like from women who are, came from, were alcoholics or drug users or whatever the case might be, who have just come out of the trenches. And you realize so quickly that this is for anybody. And I just think that that's something we have to constantly be reminded of. And as much as I say, like, don't go like searching for other Beachbody coaches to follow. If ever you are feeling like this isn't for me, go find that coach that like is doing it, is changing lives, is becoming a millionaire, is becoming, is just helping hundreds of people a month. Go find them. And then you'll be like, okay, yeah, okay. If she can do it, I can do it, And I think that the passion and the consistency and obviously it does come from over time, but I think the more you ingrain yourself in good personal development, and I said this to Andy lately, I'm like, I think I need something a little thicker. I think something more like uplifting in my, just that isn't even about like leadership or any of that. It's more just like speaking to me as like a woman, as a mom, as a wife. I think I need that because I think I'm just kind of in that place where I need someone to pour into me that isn't Andy or, basically that's, the only person I really talk to on that would be pouring into me. But I've always been more of the mentor than the mentee. Always wanted a mentor, but that's just, like a mom, like a, older, wiser woman, but that is besides the point. But I think that you just get more and more confident in what you have to offer. And I can't even tell you how many no's I've probably gotten, in way more no's than yeses, like way more, but they just roll. I don't even really care. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Or no answers. I would say there's probably more no answers than there are no's, but I think you have to realize and you have to see the potential for what it's worth. You have to have that conversation with your spouse or whoever you live with, that it's important to you, that it's something that you're striving for, because I do think that a lot of times that is something that comes up, is this like conflict of like, okay, now your free time is this time, and really setting boundaries and figuring out what works for you both is a huge component of making this effective. And I know both Andy and I have had and continue to have. It continues to transpire as things change, but having that conversation with your spouse, like tonight, like, hey, I'm going to be stepping out for an hour to do two calls, and like, they're important. And he's like, okay, yeah. If they're important and they're, but that's something we usually protect our night times. So just like being really open about what is important, what isn't, really making sure you run your business effectively. I've since now kind of become an actual stay-at-home mother with a kid. My kids have always gone to school. I've always worked. And now I'm at home full time with a kid. And so it's become an even, I thought like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. No, it's like a whole new ballgame now. Like being very disciplined with your time is become something we have to be very strategic about. So I think you just have to keep the vision, read 5-second rule, learn how to take full advantage of your day. Learn how to do the easy things, like the little tricks, like in IG stories, know how to do those, so that even if you're not even able to follow up with anybody on IG stories and no one's even commenting, you're doing it. That's, I think, one of the biggest things. Just a quick little tidbit on IG stories. Lately, I've been just picking really big cities and geotagging the big cities, like basically the biggest cities in America and Canada and the UK. And like, I was telling Andy, I had over 1,000 viewers on one of my IG stories. I don't even know. And it was like an Ottawa one. So I just picked places that I've lived to. And just because would be so awkward if someone's like, why did you geotag our city? Like, well, I used to live there. So, but just, that's like a little tidbit. that's 1,000. If I had time, but see, this is a fun thing. Like if I had time to sit there and go through and find all those new people, I could probably pick up a whole plethora of new, users. But do the little things, do the little tricks, and don't sell yourself short. Don't believe that your words aren't just as impactful as everybody else's that is doing this. And, just go after what you so rightly deserve. That's all I got.
I love that. Does anybody have any questions? Jen, I
do.
I'm going to mute so you
can you not hear me? Let me see. Hold on. This is all new to me.
We can hear you, love.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, I'm listening.
Yay. Okay, so my question is, what do you do when people say, well, I like to work out with other people? It's like, yeah, but do you? No. So
I was just going to say I would put it back in the court. I'm like, oh, awesome. Well, is that effective for you? Are you getting the results that you're hoping to get? Because I usually say, okay, I'm a fitness instructor as well. So I usually say like, yeah, I hit up a couple classes to give me that like, feeling of wanting to work out with people. But the fact of the matter is I get the best results sitting at home because I know I can't not show up. Is usually how I swing it. Unless then they're going to say, well, I can't afford both. Then you say, well, then go with what's working for you. If you're getting results at the gym and you're seeing what you're hoping for, then awesome. More power to you. When that stops working for you, you just let me know. I'll be right here.
Okay.
And I would also add too that I really talk up my groups and the accountability in the groups. Like, yeah, you're not physically working out with somebody, but I always had a gym membership that I barely used, and it wasn't until and I always thought I was the person that like needed to go to the gym with somebody, which is why I never went. So I share that too, and I say, the accountability, it's a little bit different because yes, it's all online, but that's the whole point of is like I'll be checking in on you, and I will help you to get those amazing results because that's my job and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Yay, that's what I did say, Andy. So yay.
So good. Excellent.
Yeah. So hopefully she's like, I'll call you next week and talk to you more about it. And I'm like, I just spent like an hour with you and I explained it all. I'm like, okay, sure. But I'm thinking like, am I not explaining it well enough?
No, that's very normal. And I wanted to give you a shout out because Jen sold her first challenge pack today. Yay. So was it her or is this a girl?
No, and it's so funny. The other person, sorry, moving rooms because my daughter is like turning up the volume in the living room. The other person, it was so easy. She's like, I saw your story. I'm so inspired. I want to just get started. I was like, okay. And it was just awesome because she got it right away. And I'm like, okay, can you all be like that? Which I know they're not going to be, but she was just like, she basically said she tried everything else. And so she was at the point where it was like, well, she hadn't given that a try. And this other person said like, oh yeah, I tried it years ago. And I was like, well, it's changed so much. I went over the whole story about how now you can, get access to all different types of workouts. I know we're not supposed to call it all access. It's something else, right, Andy? What's it called?
Annual.
I forget what it's called.
Annual.
Honestly, I'm not even sure about all of that stuff because when I'm talking to somebody, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of like, well, you'll get almost everything, but then you'll have to unlock stuff. I just call it.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
I haven't even been calling it all access to begin with. So I just say that you get access to over like 800 workouts, something like that. Like that is gold.
Yeah, that's what I told her. So hopefully, next week when she calls me back again, we can just talk about it more. But she's one of those too where she's tried everything. So I'm like, okay, well, you've tried it all and it's not working. So, what else do I need to say to help you to give it a try? And I even said there's like a money back guarantee. So if you like don't like it at all, you can get your money back. And I don't know. So I don't know, maybe there's just little things that I'm not saying that I need to be saying, but I'm not like a salesperson. So I just know it works and I know what's worked for me. And so like, if you want to join me, great. If not, like, I don't want to be the person that's like, okay, well, I'm going to call you next week at this time. And it's like, no, I don't have time for that.
You are doing it all right. I would just, if she doesn't commit for this round, I would put her name down, and before our next group starts, just reach out. That's when I reach out again. Like if you've had this whole long conversation and you've definitely gone over all of her objections, like,
Okay.
she'll come around.
Do you recommend, what are your thoughts on having people join the challenge group before they commit to the program? Is that like a good thing to do? Not good thing?
That's tricky, and it's your call as the coach. I've always let people in without purchasing most of the time, because they in return have turned into customers for me once they've seen a group. But a lot of coaches have a hard and fast rule where you have to buy a challenge pack or you can't be in. And I always tell everybody on the team, it's really your call how you want to work your business.
Okay.
Great questions.
Like 10 more seconds.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, we got to hop off to go to the kickoff call.
New coach mentorship.
If you guys want to keep hanging out with us, you can go join the kickoff call for the new mentorship.
Oh, what is this one?
It's this right now.
It's so this is how it's going to roll, so you guys know. Every month we will have a new one. So as you bring people onto the team, you don't have to worry about doing all of this. Just know that there will always be all of the content you just saw in the last month will come up every month for all the new people, for anybody I sign, you sign, anybody. Or if you ever want to refresh.
I thought this was the new coach one. Sorry.
No, it is. It is.
It's the new one at the end of the group. So then there's another new one that started today. That is kind of confusing. We won't normally do the calls at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're good. So for next, if you add anybody between now and middle of April, just know middle of April, and then another one will start. And so you can tell people, like, we have this mentorship program that starts whatever date Kim and I decide to start. I'd have to look at a calendar. So there's always going to be that resource for you guys, which is really important for you guys to remember as you're signing people. So don't feel like you have to teach them all of these things or create an own group yourself. I would rather it be a team effort. There's no sense in adding more work to a brand new coach's plate. So
yeah.
You're not driving.
Cool.
You're driving me.
Well, thank you. That was my question. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being on, girls.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to end. If you do want to hop over, the next link is in the next group. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.